Trotwood-Madison work session, June 1st, 2023 to order. Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Here.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
And Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Now, if we would stand and do a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our mission statement. The mission of the Trotwood-Madison City Schools is to graduate all students prepared to excel in a global society with a commitment to lifelong learning by guaranteeing a challenging curriculum facilitated by an innovative and dedicated staff, community participation, and state-of-the-art resources in a stimulating atmosphere. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. And now I'd like a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. I know we want to add an additional reason for executive session, which would be to prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining session with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment per ORC 121.22G. So we can add it to, we'll add it as C,
10C.
10C. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
Yes. I would like to make a couple of changes. I have changed to the personnel agenda. In A3, we have Kelsey Daniel receiving $7,272 as her stipend for PBIS BLT leave, and that is going to be split. So A3 will now say Kelsey Daniel, PBIS BLT at the ELC for $3,636, and she'll be splitting that with Simone Epps, which is now $3,636. And then in A6, it's a recommendation for approval of a classified 2-year administrative contract that is for Alan Matthews, who's a network administrator. On the May 18th personnel agenda, he was listed as a non-contract 1-year position. So that's changing to a 2-year administrative contract.
So how does that change? I thought that was already on there. Let me go to the personnel agenda. So on A3, are we adding
So
two
we're
people?
adding a name, Simone Epps, and we split that amount of $7,272 to $3,636.
And Kelsey Daniels for the same amount?
Yes.
So this will, so the updated copy that you provided us will, Ms. Allen, you will include that as a part of the agenda?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I have
Another, one, two. I would also like to add under discussion, mental health contract comparison. It's really a follow-up item.
And I have one other thing. When you're
Okay.
ready. In front of you, board, there is a letter that Mr. Quincy Pulford, the city manager, city of Trotwood, authored for me. The board he wants approval from the board before he can send this in to the state of Ohio. And once we get to that, I'll read you his text to me. He said he could not be here to further explain, but he did author this letter, and I just got it today, so. I was
Okay,
wondering
so-
if we could add that under, I don't know.
Board.
Under maybe board?
Board items.
Yes.
Board items, board items. Okay, yes, will be F. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, that's board comment. Where's board items?
I gotta get to that.
Maybe board report under 3, maybe? Is that what you
Yes.
meant? Is that what you all wanted, like board 3A?
Mhm.
Okay, under
3A.
3A, yes.
3A.
Okay.
And that would be the property tax exemption legislation.
Yes, ma'am. So she would also like to add, yeah, okay, under 3A. Board report. Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's all I
Madam
have.
Chair?
Yes.
I have a concern and a question,
Okay.
okay? So that we do this right.
Okay.
On the personnel agenda,
Yes.
item A6,
A6.
which is Alan Matthews,
Yes.
we've already voted on a one-year admin contract, correct?
Did we vote on that already?
May 16.
Because
If
this
we
is
did,
saying a
we'd have to
2-year, so
rescind
now
it.
he'll have 3 years.
Yeah,
So
we
we
would
have
have
to
to
go
res-
back, or we have to change. We
I
have
thought
to-
it was on this one, but
Was
Dr.
it on
Cosby,
this?
On
please.
518.
See, on 518, we've already voted for 1 year.
Oh,
And
we
now we're
already
voting for
voted.
2 more years. So what we would have to do, Madam
Is
Chair,
rescind.
is reconsider
518.
518 administrative contract.
Contract.
But we'd have to put it on this agenda. It would have to be on
Show
here.
up.
Because we have to void that one out
Out.
on a reconsideration, and then we can vote for the new one.
Right.
Otherwise, he would have 2 contracts simultaneously, a year and then 2 years.
Right. True.
Yeah, so what's the pleasure of the board? Because it has to be on the agenda if we're going to do this.
And
And let's go back and look at that.
on the 518.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Mhm.
that's, my computer's just a little slow, so.
So you said on 518, we voted for the 1 year.
Mhm.
Divided 300 by.
So we can add it under,
I'm gonna go back, and I would hope the board would go back and look at that particular meeting, 518, viewing the agenda, and I'm looking under the personnel agenda for that meeting. Let's see.
Mhm.
okay.
She's right, but there's no dates on her, so there may have been a date. to say who- You know what I'm saying? Make it 2, she's right, right, the date.
And it was A6 then?
No, A6 on the 518 was, letters training for certified, so
Okay,
let me.
I'm looking.
Always don't wanna lose much space.
Okay, it's B5, and it says recommendation for approval of the following non-contract employee for 2023-24 school year. And it's 1 year,
Right.
So this is a non-contract, and now we're making it an administrative contract? I don't understand.
It's always been an administrator.
So-
It was written,
So this is wrong, this was wrong on 5/18.
and that's what I said, that it was, needed to be changed because it was not accurate.
He's not non-contract,
Right.
and it's 1 year, correct? And you wanna make it 2 years, correct?
Because the contract employees get 2 years, yes.
So it was mistakenly put under a non-contract employee for a year. So on that particular item, President Jeter Freeman, we've already voted on that.
Mhm.
So in order to vote on the new administrative 2-year, we would have to add this particular item to
Item.
the new agenda.
As a,
You know, and I wanna get the language correct, because what we're doing is we are reconsidering that non-contracted employee's contract. We already voted for it, so now we're reconsidering it.
is that the right, reconsidering it, and we would vote that one down? We would vote to, we'll put it on the floor to vote on that one, and we would add the A6 as, you know,
Yeah. and-
what is
Yeah, we have.
probably better to clean it up and bring it back.
Let's do that, because I'd rather have
Yeah.
the right language in the
Our
contract.
right language.
Our language, because if
Yeah.
not, we would have an employee with 2
Right.
contracts. One's non-union,
Right.
non-contract,
Non-contract.
and the other one is administrative. So
So
let's
let's
take
table
that off
the
the agenda.
agenda.
Let's table that particular one. I mean, he has a contract, it's just labeled wrong.
Right.
And then we'll bring it back, if it's the pleasure of the board superintendent.
We'll bring it
Correct.
back, because
With the
right
right
now, we're
language.
having to do a lot of
Yeah.
tracking.
And it needs to be clean.
And even our wording, to make sure that
Yeah.
we get it right,
And we
is a
can't, and it's
concern.
hard to reconsider something that
Right.
happened 5/18.
Right.
Like if it happened today,
It
we
would
could
be different.
reconsider the vote, but now we can't.
We're
So-
going back.
That
So-
is no problem, I'll take care of that and have it back for you at the next meeting.
So on this one, we're gonna remove the
We're just gonna
5.
take that up.
Yes.
Mhm.
all
Am I on the
together.
right one together now?
Let me-
No, we're
Yes.
No.
A6.
A6.
It's
A6,
A6.
you're gonna remove A6,
And we didn't have it on here, so we're just,
but it needs to,
come on.
yes,
Was
because
A6 on the,
it's on here, it's on
It's on-
mine.
It's hand carry.
Oh, no, it's on my agenda.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the
Okay.
agenda as an item. And it's not, yeah, it's on the hand carry too, but it's on, I actually saw it on the agenda. So A6 would be removed altogether.
Right, and that's just one line.
Yes. So
So it was on the.
what
okay.
you would, what we would be actually doing is voting on, the personnel agenda
Minus,
with the changes in, from the hand carry in A3, because we split the stipend, and we
Right.
added a person, minus A6
Right,
on both
okay.
the agenda and the hand carry.
So we can ignore the hand carry. We're ignoring, pretend we don't even have a hand carry, and you guys are just saying A6, you're just not, we're gonna delete A6.
But here's
Is
the
that what we're
thing,
hearing?
the hand carry has changes on it. You, like, it, that is one of the changes, if you look on the back. It's not only on the agenda, it's on the hand carry. We're voting on the changes from the hand carry from the superintendent, minus A6.
But,
A-
I'm asking, isn't A6 on a separate piece of paper, or is it on the same piece?
it's on the same page.
Okay,
It's
my
on-
bad.
it's on-
Okay, my bad,
It's
my
here.
bad. I see 2 here, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, I
Okay.
mean, cause like, these names, like Ms. Epps is not on the personnel agenda, but it's on the hand carry. So superintendent is asking this board
Right.
to accept hand care,
Okay.
correct? Dr. Cosby?
Correct.
Okay. So,
So in the minutes, I'm just trying to make sure the minutes are read correctly. The superintendent would like to, I have to change A3, Kelsey, Daniel, and Simone Epps to split their stipend for $3,636 apiece,
based on the hand carry.
based on the hand care.
Mhm.
And then based on the
Yeah,
hand
so
carry.
A3
And
would
A-
be the hand carry.
Got
Right.
you.
Okay?
And then A6, we would remove from the hand carry.
And.
A6?
Yeah,
Okay.
A6 removed from the hand carry and from the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's A6 in both,
Gotcha.
on both
Yeah.
places.
So, if I'm understanding, just for clarification, personnel item A3, recommendation for the approval of the certified supplementals. The board is voting on the hand
Hand
carry,
carry,
correct?
yes.
Okay, the hand carry only, the changes for the hand, from the hand carry,
Minus,
minus A6
Six.
from the hand carry and
and
on the
from
agenda.
the agenda.
Yeah, just because they're both in two places, but
Right.
we probably need to say that one twice, because that's an administrative contract.
Okay. And the other change was to add under, Miss Allen, do you have that one?
I do. Do you
Okay.
mind me reading what I have?
Yes.
Okay. I have the superintendent would like to change A3, Kelsey, Daniel, and Simone Epps to split their stipend for $3,636 apiece based on the hand carry. Remove A6 from the hand carry and the agenda. She would also like to add under discussion, mental health contract comparison.
Right.
The
and I-
treasurer would like to add a reason to the executive session to prepare for blah, blah, blah. I'll read the whole thing.
Mhm.
To prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining session with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment per ORC 121.22G4. She would also like the board's approval for the property exemption legislation for the city of Trotwood under 3A board report.
Yes.
Got it. Yes.
With the superintendent's item, mental health comparison under discussion item. That's correct? It would be under the.
Let me
Yes.
find, let me
Yes.
see, she would like,
You
okay.
didn't say that.
Yes, I did. She would
Okay.
like to add
Mhm.
under discussion. And what,
Discussion.
item
Mental
is
health
that?
comparison?
Yeah, what
Yes.
is that?
What number is
What
that?
number is that?
It's
Six.
under discussion.
It would be
Six.
under superintendent
6C?
report. Well,
Is that
I'm
right?
looking at,
Discussion follow-up items.
yeah, discussion follow-up items, okay.
It-
Would that be
6C.
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 Got it. I have it.
6C?
6C.
6C.
Oh, I'm looking at May 18th. I have too many agendas.
That's why I didn't want to look at the other agenda. Okay, that's what I have, if that's the board's pleasure.
Okay. Now, given those changes, Ms. Moore,
In the executive session too.
in the executive
Mhm.
session, she read
10C.
that one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we added that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Will action be taken on those, on any of these?
Will action be taken on any of the executive sessions, Dr.?
Because it says A, action may be taken,
And maybe.
and B, it doesn't say anything. And then C,
B would not be action.
and I think C
C.
is, action may be taken.
Action
Yes,
may be
yeah.
taken.
And maybe.
If there are no other changes, then those summarized
No.
by Ms. Allen, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
and Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes. The motion with the changes noted by Ms. Allen. Yes, Ms. Moore? The agenda has been adopted. And now we have a presentation on summer school update.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
My purpose today is to just to give you an overview of what will happen this summer in our schools regarding summer school in all 3 grade bands, elementary, middle, and high school. So our elementaries will be engaging in the Freedom Schools, and I'm just going to read this to you because these are not my words, they come off of the Freedom Schools website. Just to remind you what our Freedom School summer school is. So Freedom School is a program provides summer enrichment through a research-based and multicultural program model that supports scholars and their families. The program's goal is to get scholars to excel and believe in their ability to make a difference in themselves and in their families, schools, communities, country, and world with hope, education, and action by providing K-12 scholars with rich, culturally relevant pedagogy and high-quality books that deepen scholars' understanding of themselves and all they have in common with others in a multiracial, multicultural, democratic society. Freedom Schools programs further empowers scholars to believe in their ability and responsibility to make a difference while instilling in them a love of reading to help them avoid summer learning losses. And so we're really excited to have Freedom Schools in our schools this year. And so Freedom School, it'll be housed at Madison Park, but serve all our elementary students. We advertised to a group of K-5 students this year through Parent Square, and we filled spots according to who first come, first serve. Okay. Just as a reminder, the amount of students that we can serve is really determined by how many interns and staff we get for that, because it keeps within a certain range.
Okay.
This is a 6-week program, so it's a little bit different than in the past. We've run 4-week programs. This is a 6-week program, and it focuses on reading and enrichment and includes Friday field trips. So the Monday through Thursday will be in district here, and Friday we'll have field trips. We'll have weekly parent buildings and weekly parent meetings and building home libraries through book giveaways. And I've placed over here some books that the students will get, so you get a chance after the meeting over to peruse these books. These are actually books that students will get sent home with them. And so we'll build actually classroom libraries, but also home libraries as well. So they're really high quality books, and so we're really excited for our students to build their at-home libraries. The program will start June 12th and ends July 21st. Right now, as we speak, we have a group of our student interns, not quite student, they're college student interns. So they went down to Knoxville. They're there right now getting trained to do the work. Really excited to see 10 of them, and most of them are former Trotwood students, come back to serve our elementary kids. So we're excited. Some of them are my former students that I had when I was a principal. So just excited to see those kids come back and contribute. They're all students right now that have completed their first year in college. So they're coming back to serve. So really excited about that for us. There'll be pre and post testing to show that the growth that is included with the program, and that's something they do on their own to measure their own program. And as a first-year site, we have an on-site visit and review from the Children's Defense Fund from the National Office on June 15th. Children's Defense Fund this is their program, their Freedom School program. So they'll come in there. I'll talk a little bit about costs at the end of all 3 of these programs. For this year, we buy all the materials. Next year, United Way partners with us, and they will buy our materials, and that won't come through us. And the reason they didn't do it this year, because when they did their planning and their budgeting at the beginning of the year, we were not on board yet as a Freedom School site. That will happen next year, though. Middle school. So there's 2 programs running at the middle school. One for like a summer school, almost like a credit recovery, even though there's not quite credits there at the middle school. And then one's enrichment. So that one starts on June 5th and runs to June 29th. It'll be Monday through Thursday, all day, 8 to 3. Students will engage in academics in the morning and to recover missed instruction using APEX. And APEX is the same program that we use at the high school for credit recovery as well. Or they will do enrichment through Project Lead the Way, and there's a couple other programs that we're using for enrichment as well. The afternoon will be organized activities. We've worked out with with Mr. Smith and the AD department to be able to use the swimming pool, so we're excited about that. Basketball, volleyball, there'll be other activities there too, so that's what happens in the afternoon for them. And transportation for both the middle school students and the elementary students, that of course is provided by the district. On the academic side, this is how the middle school has zeroed in on who they're providing this academic middle school summer group to. Anybody who is passing, who has not received a passing grade for 2 or more quarters in ELA or math, they've asked to come back in to do summer school. And so just that idea of holding our students accountable and holding ourselves accountable to make sure the students get what they need. So if you didn't pass those 2, then we're asking them to come in. We have targeted 81 enrolled students and 9 expelled students to come in to do that summer school work. And right now we have about 60 of them enrolled. Enrichment, any middle school student can attend for enrichment, and we have approximately 40 students there. We have Project Lead the Way, so if you remember, that's our STEM group, so particularly medical detectives, and automation and robotics. It's those 2 programs that we're kind of running again in summer school, and with just a lot of student interest in both of those programs. Sea-Perch is in there as well, and if you haven't been around a while, if you've been around a while, you remember what Sea-Perch is. They're building underwater robotic trying to kind of think what it is. It's like some kind of it's a robot, but they go under the water, right? And like a submarine, and they're moving them around. So we did that in the past, not too long ago. Kids get really engaged in that, so looking forward to seeing them do that again. And then apple coding, we're doing that as well.
Are the 40 students in this group are included as a part of the 60, or is that 40 plus 60?
Some of them are included in part because some of this happens at the second part of the day as well.
Okay.
So technically, you could be doing both of those things.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it too late for the last minute parents to enroll their children?
I don't
Like me?
believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Since they only have 40 enrolled right now, I think they probably have some room.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Credit recovery at the high school. This is run like we usually run the credit recovery at the high school. And these are digital resources, particularly Apex, with teacher guidance, tutoring, and mini lessons that are happening at the high school. Right now, we have 152 students. That was as of 5/31. And then student enrollment will close at about 165 students. That's about all we can handle with the summer school group. Parents have been notified via email, mail, phone, Parent Square, so that their child could be encouraged to attend. This is really aimed at credit recovery and making sure that we recover credits, obviously, for graduation for these students. We're giving priority to rising seniors, so making sure those juniors last year are really targeted, and we've really reached out to them to make sure that they get their credits there. We do have a rolling admission policy to accommodate students that are waitlisted if it comes to that. Questions about the high school?
The Apex, I noticed we're using it, and I know we've used it for quite a while now. What's our success rate on students being able to progress out of their classes with Apex?
I could get you the number, particularly for summer school, I could get you the numbers from last year.
Right,
Um,
right.
I just looked at that, and I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I
and
will
you
send
can
Dr.
send that
Cosby and send
later.
it to you to
Right.
give you an idea. But it's been a pretty high success rate as far as getting them credits they needed to recover.
Yeah, one of the things I've discussed with the board is, one of the things we're charged to do is with the programs that we're using, the only way we know if they're effective, that when they come before the board and we're voting for this additional program or this additional program, we have to be able to speak to the efficacy of whether or not it's working and it's reaching the number of students that we need. Because I know we've had discussion before about Apex and, not having that teacher there. So if you think, if it's a student that's behind.
Yeah.
And they probably need more help me through this. And I think a lot of parents are expecting that, for the students being able to speak to, and a teacher if they get caught up.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? So I'm in Apex, I'm in 10th grade, and I'm behind 4 credits. When I come to the high school, what happens this summer?
So it'll be a small group, and they'll have one group that comes in the morning and one group that comes in the afternoon. And that is why there's a cap on that, because we want a limited number of students per teacher, so that teachers can do exactly what your concern is, to make sure that while we have the online program, and understand might have math there, but you might have somebody doing geometry and
Right.
algebra 2 and like all of that happening in the same classroom, right? So we want to make sure there's a small group number and that teachers can come along students right at the elbow there, right beside them, to do mini lessons, those kind of things. For instance, we had an Algebra 1 group last year. Mr. Graham did that, and he had 16 students, and all 16, he was able to make sure they went on and passed that Algebra 1 assessment.
Very good.
Yeah, we're very excited, so one of my jobs will be this summer to contact him, make sure that, we try to replicate those kind of efforts. But yes, the whole idea is not that we just put you on a computer and then walk away from you, but that we're at the elbow, we're there for kids to help walk them through that, not just, leave them on a computer somewhere.
So we also look, and I don't want to monopolize this board, so this is my last question. So, each of those students, because you said they're working on different things, so you've looked to identify what they are behind in, so those are the 4 subjects that they're working on.
The high school counseling department would have looked at who is falling behind in those credits and being able to determine, again, with the priority as last year's juniors, to make sure that we get them into the right spots for them.
Okay, thank you, and that's all I have.
Madam Chair, we utilize Apex for situations if we don't have teachers available,
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
In school. How do you accommodate for the children who are not, they're not able to learn digitally? Because I know that my little brother experienced that at the high school. Physical science, they didn't have a physical science teacher available. They had to utilize Apex, and he was struggling, and he felt the class. And digital learning wasn't his strong suit. So how are we accommodating the other children who cannot deal with that?
Well, I think when I hear accommodations, I think of students with disabilities, and we do make sure that we have a teacher that's an intervention specialist that's part of this team of teachers doing the summer school programming. So number 1, there's that, and then number 2, it's very similar to what Ms. Jeter Freeman was asking about. We want to make sure that no student is just left at a computer. So that students such as your brother, or really any of us, just trying to learn something complicated like chemistry or physical science, we need a teacher there. That's the important. I've spoken before of the importance of teachers and making sure that we have a teacher at the elbow, interacting with them during that whole time, providing assistance when they need it. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I miss the times that for summer school? Can I stop?
Maybe not.
okay.
So middle school 8 to 3, and then high school would also be 8 to 3, but there's 2 separate groups that come in, right? So there's a morning group and an afternoon group. And I think I'm sure that they're open to, if a student needs to stay all day, they do as well, but they try to do a morning group and an afternoon group. And then elementary is 8 to 2.
I'm not sure. Is it Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday?
The Freedom Schools is Monday through Friday, and Friday is a day for field trips,
Mhm.
and everybody else is Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, one last slide. Just looking at the cost of what happens this year. So you can see what happens at elementary, middle school, and high school. There is a materials cost associated with the elementary school. With the Freedom Schools, that's the books and the other materials that they'll use there. There is no cost with middle and high school. We've been able to use things that we already have in the district. So Project Lead the Way, we already have those resources in the district. C-Perch, we already have all of those resources in the district. So, and all of the things and the trinkets that come with all of those programs still exist with us in the district, so we don't have any costs associated with that. Our major cost is the staff cost. So in 2023, this year's summer school, it's $160,100, as opposed to last year, we tried to do that cutting of the cost there, and we spent around, with the catapult, we spent about $279,000 last year. And so that's a significant cost, about $119,000 cost savings this year. What we hope to do In the future with Freedom Schools, we hope to push Freedom Schools into our 6th, 7th, and 8th grades as we roll up. We didn't want to do that this year because it's a new program for us. We want to kind of build momentum with it. But I'm really excited to push some of Freedom Schools up into the middle school while keeping the great things about the middle school this year. And then remember, we have the Educator Rising program, that future teachers program. And so we hope to have junior leader interns next year, so we can use actually our high school students to come and be part of the Freedom School and make that part of like their resume as they go into college and hopefully become teachers and come back to our district to teach other Trotwood kids. So excited about the future and building on some of the things that we're beginning this year.
So I encourage, if we can spotlight those teachers, those interns who have chose to come back and to help out. I will really love to know those individuals. If they can come to a board meeting, or we can shout them out on our Facebook page. That is good to know that we are preparing students to become professionals, and they're coming back to help out, so.
Yeah, I was really hoping, you took the words kind of out of my mouth. I was hoping that at some point we can come back and maybe you could hear from some of the interns, or you can hear from the Child Defense Fund at, what they found out with their study. We'll bring back pictures and all of those things we can bring back so you can kind of see pictures, videos like we did last year. So you
Yeah.
can kind of see firsthand. And then don't be surprised if Jill Adams reaches out to you. We are always looking for people to read in Freedom Schools. And so we're looking for our community members to come and read stories to our students in Freedom Schools. So we'll reach out to you. We cannot have enough of those kind of folks. So don't be surprised if you get reached out for that reason.
And it goes through the end of June, right? So it's a four.
Yes, Freedom Schools run
July.
until
End of July.
I thought it was
July 21st.
July 21st.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, any other questions, board? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
I'm sorry, one more thing. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I included this in your packet. It's just a 2-page about Freedom Schools, just to give you more information.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And now we have board report, which will be the city manager Quincy Pope's property tax exemption legislation.
And so if you don't mind, I would like to read his text.
Yes, please.
He just says, I have another commitment, and Chad is out of the office and Stephanie is on vacation. The main issue is the city has a public facility that was built in or around 2005, and they failed to fill out the proper paperwork on a tax-exempt public use facility. This will allow the city to get all of this straightened out. If the proper tax-exempt paperwork has been filed, if the proper tax-exempt paperwork had been filed when the city built the facility, this would have been taken care of years ago. We definitely appreciate any help you can provide, Janice, and thank the board for taking time on this issue. That was from Quincy Pope, who's the city manager at Trotwood.
Okay.
And then
thank you.
I gave you
The letter.
letter that if you approve it, I will then put it on letterhead and send it back to Quincy tomorrow morning.
Okay,
So this is an action item?
this will be
Yeah, this will
for
be an action
action.
item,
So-
yes.
so
We will take a
probably
motion.
needed to take the motion
Do
and then
first,
ask
yeah.
and then come back.
Okay.
So we need a motion on the floor for this board item.
If you would call,
No.
a motion?
I'll move to accept the board item, is it board item A?
3A.
3A.
Oh, I'm sorry, board item 3A, property tax exemption legislation, letter presented by our treasurer.
And I'll take a second.
I second.
It's been properly moved in second, Ms. Allen.
No question.
Well,
Are
may
there
I-
any
I guess-
questions?
I guess I'm gonna, I have a question.
Yeah,
Ms.
question,
Allen.
okay.
Madam Chair, so what she's gonna do, and I'm just understanding, you're gonna put our letterhead, because this is a
Yes.
draft letter,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Mhm.
So you're gonna put our letterhead
Yes.
on this?
And then I'm gonna sign it. He had me to sign it. And if you notice, the last sentence says, The proposed legislation was discussed at the board meeting on June 1st, 2023. The board supports the city's efforts to correct administrative oversight through the proposed legislation. And so what he wanted me to do is to then send this letter to him, and they would forward this to the state to prove that you guys had discussed it at this meeting and that you were okay with them
And that's why
submitting
he
the
actually
paperwork.
wanted a vote on it.
Yeah, and that's why we wanted it officially. Did I answer your question, Ms. Moore?
The only thing that I would add is a date. Other than, in the letter.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
I'll put date, and I'll date it June 1st.
And then it would, of course, be on board letterhead and
Yes,
all of those
absolutely,
things. Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Anderson?
I would, if possible, we can have Mr. Pope, come back and follow up with us.
Exactly.
In person. I do have a few questions. I can email him my questions, concerns, but yeah, if he can come back and follow
Okay,
up.
I can ask him. Is it a board's pleasure if he can come back
Absolutely.
on the 15th, or when's our meeting?
The tax
15th.
exemption, we would at least like to see
Is that the
somebody
board's
we're giving
pleasure?
money to.
Yeah, that he would come back and answer
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
And
Right.
also, just for clarification, there will be no refunds on any taxes the city previously paid on such property. But if the tax commissioner determines that the property does not qualify for exemption, the city will pay the property tax due.
Yeah, so that,
So that's why we would have additional questions that, of course, we wouldn't expect you to be able to answer.
right.
Yeah, like what are those costs?
So
Yeah.
I will.
So
I
is
will-
it, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Is it possible that I don't want to offer support for something with lack of information?
And or vote.
And I really have some questions in regards to this, so.
He said it had to be filed by June the 6th, and there would then be no other opportunity for our board to support his recommendation. So he asked me this morning, or sent the information this morning. And he realized that it was late, and that we had a board meeting. I said that I would walk it in, so it'll be your pleasure of how you want to vote.
Any other comments, board, your thoughts?
My only thought was, I'm glad, thank you for giving us the date, and I imagine there would be a late filing fee
Yeah,
for
so
him.
he said June the 6th.
Otherwise, but it sounds as if we are not gonna have any type of backlash.
No, not
Not
this.
for the
Right.
school
No,
For
district.
this,
We're not.
yeah,
No.
whatsoever.
But yeah.
So even the questions that we have, I think would be okay to have Mr. Pope come in and answer the questions so that he can get this filed. There's nothing that's gonna come back on the district, there's no dollars that are gonna go out. They're taking full responsibility, and it's an oversight through their proposed legislation, so.
Madam Chair, I'm just really looking at the future, because one of the things that it was said in here, if I can find it. Sorry. Yeah, never mind. I'm just thinking to the future. I can't find it. My mind is all over. But yeah, we can move forward. Thank you.
Okay. So we had a motion by Ms. Moore and a second by Mr. Anderson. If there's no further discussion, Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry.
Yes.
And Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes, motion passes. And now we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Okay, I only have one item this evening, and that is just for information. And there was an approval, we have 5 meetings in May, one on May 4th, one on May 16th, one on May 18th, one on May 20th, and one on May 23rd. So all of the minutes are attached, and at your convenience, please look at them to make sure that we got all of the information that was conducted at those particular meetings. And then, of course, it will be voted upon on the June 15th board meeting.
Okay.
I just have a
Discussion?
comment.
Mhm.
I've been attending other board meetings and also talking to colleagues. For the minutes, can that be part of the consent agenda?
Yes,
Thank you.
I think so.
Yeah, and as a matter of
Yeah.
fact, if we really wanna go into it in depth, and I know, Madam Carey, you sit on the CTC board. How do boards, we do approve like the 5-year forecast, and then we have a financial committee who does
Mhm.
all the oversight. A lot of those items, especially when we talk about the certain statements, financial statements,
Mhm.
the boards don't vote on those. They
Mhm.
are on for information, because what I understand, and this is something we can look into, we don't know where those numbers are coming from. Like, I mean, if you aren't, boards are not that astute, and I'm just speaking for, I'll speak for myself. I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial person. What happens, and the treasurer already knows this, even if we vote on these things, we're gonna have that annual audit,
Absolutely.
and they're gonna come back
Yes.
Mm.
regardless of what we say yes to, which might be an oversight, because we are not accountants or number people, and most boards don't vote on those type of reports, but we'll talk about that
Yeah, we
in
can-
more in detail. But for a lot of these items under the treasurer's report, they can really go under the consent agenda because we sit here, we go through them in the work session, and that moves the meeting along. Except for certain ones,
Yes,
like
I-
the 5-year
And
forecast.
I was gonna say
And
that.
contracts,
Yeah,
you know, if you have anything
exactly.
like that. But other
And
than that.
appropriations.
But I was gonna say, in addition to that, is that the financial report is a 20-page report.
Mhm.
And so that we're only bringing to the board, and it was done before I came here, and I've been here 12 years, only 3 of those reports.
Mhm.
And so 3 reports out of the 20-page report, so so you can further discuss it.
Mhm.
I would feel more comfortable if you all can decide. If
Yeah.
you wanna decide on, we have checks over $1,000.
Yes.
We can still
You
discuss
can or
it.
you
Yeah.
cannot do it. We have the financial report out of the system.
Yeah.
So in terms of where the numbers come from, those numbers are coming from, exactly from the financial system. I can't make them up or anything like that,
And
you know.
it's not an indictment on you,
I know,
and
I
I'm not
know.
saying you
Yeah,
make up
yeah,
numbers.
right.
It's just that because it is, in my opinion, over boards' heads along the lines of the financial reporting, especially if you're not on the financial committee. And that's another reason we have a finance committee.
Right,
Because you
absolutely.
guys look at that,
Yeah.
and then you can bring back
Mhm.
questions in the work session.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when we go have our regular meeting,
Mhm.
these meetings are too long.
Mhm.
Okay, these meetings need to be condensed, and they can be. And that's how boards do that. Even the city agenda, if you've ever gone to, they only have the 1 meeting a month. They get all the information beforehand, they get their questions answered. This stuff is in their consent agenda. And they're out in 90 minutes, not that, that, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we can look at those
Yeah.
for the financials. There are a few that I personally, speaking for myself, would still like to see
Oh, we can
pulled
still
out
see
and
them,
voted on.
but-
Well, yeah.
Ms. Cherry, how do they do it over at CTC?
We
Yes,
just
you
started
do.
to doing, some consent agenda things, and I don't know if they put financial under there or not.
They did not.
They did not put it on their consent.
No.
They voted.
Yeah. We're just now, they had just started.
Oh, because they used to have it on their consent.
No, we didn't have a consent agenda. There was not one, but when I went to the meeting to introduce Mr. Andrews, I saw that they did have a consent agenda.
I just think
So
it's
they
something for
moved.
consideration.
Yeah,
Okay.
most definitely, we can consider that.
That's all I have.
Okay, then we would move to the superintendent's report.
All right, good evening, everyone. I have a few things on here for information. The first is A, renewal of the Eastway Behavioral Health Care, the Webster Street Academy contract for the school year of 23-24. if you had a chance to look at that, what you would see is that for our regular and special ed students who attend Webster Street Academy, it's $135 per student per day. And for what they call a bundled, which includes therapies, it's $200 per student per day. And that's up to the district if you would want to bundle some of the students' services. But our regular students and our special ed ones are $135. And this is a renewal. We've used them for years.
One of the things, if we could get, is like the number of students, because I mentioned earlier, the one thing we do need to look at is the programs, how many are we serving? And I don't know, how do we know if it's effective? These are students that are out of there actually
Yes,
located?
they literally go to Webster Street.
And we transport them there?
We transport them there, and they have to meet certain qualifications to
Okay.
go.
So have we, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, did we do our research to figure out, because I know that a lot of their children, were receiving therapy services, and they had to discharge all of them to go to South Community and other places because they could not keep a, therapist on staff. And I know that the doctor there also left as well. So those children were not getting services for a very long time. And if we're paying that, we need to do investigation to make sure that we either get that money back or those children were receiving services.
Right, we
Because
stay in contact
okay,
with them. And
so have they,
I'm hearing what you're saying, and you know, everybody's having, you know, with the issues of getting the mental health therapists and things of that nature. And so I am sure if our students were in that, we would be notified, or we would find out, and we would make sure that we made accommodations
so I
for
haven't
them.
received a notification stating that they received a social worker or therapist yet at the moment, or a doctor. Because a lot of the children came over to our behavioral and also were placed in South Community. And a lot of people were not notified of that. So I think that's information we need to look before we reapprove this contract. Because Eastway literally discharged majority of their students because they could not provide mental health services.
Madam Superintendent,
Yeah.
our last
We'll follow
retreat,
up on that.
one of our coordinators rolled out a lot of this intel. Then, I don't know if the board or all of us remember that far back, details like that, but I believe that she talked about a lot of this
Miss Mallory
information
did.
during our retreat.
Yeah, she did provide that, and she will follow up on that concern that Mr. Anderson has. But yeah, we do monitor that, so she'll follow up.
We have provided a document that had all of the
Services.
contracting services that we use for mental health and the number of students
Mhm.
see $100 a month. I
I
can
s-
provide it again.
Y'all remember?
Yeah, I saw the one, because I did go back to look, but it probably got shuffled in my paperwork. I saw the one with all of the services and the kinds of services, but I didn't see, and I saw the one with the county. And I know the one with the county had the FTEs and it had the number of students. But the sum,
I wasn't at the retreat,
Right.
I provided a document that had Samaritan, Eastway,
Right.
our resiliency
Okay.
coordinators,
I couldn't find the one with the number of students attached to each of those services. Yeah, and it probably got
No problem.
just lost.
I'll get that back to you.
And I guess, and that's their itemized list that they send us, right? That's their document that they send us, the district, to show.
So yes, it's from that. Their
It's-
document has names and minutes and times that they've seen. students
Okay, that
I
was my
cannot share
question.
with you.
That was my question, because it's their document, but are they really providing the services? So you're saying they have names and times, and how do we verify that as a district? other than what they give us.
And
I'm asking because I don't know.
The reports work every day, I don't get, you know what I mean, we don't get any.
That is the verification.
Calls or anything that says their kids are not getting everything they're supposed to. We get some that say, I want my kids to get there, but they haven't gotten it yet, but not, my kid is signed up for this day, they're not getting it, so they go. But there's a lot of confidentiality there too, you know, teachers, principals can't stand over the door and listen in and see what the therapy is like, making sure they're good, things like that. So, and they have to, you know, they have to provide Medicaid reporting and things like that, so I guess we just have to make sure that we are working with an organization that we have some level of trust in that they are accurately reporting, you know.
The reason I ask is Vanessa, we've been on the board for quite a while, and do you remember we've had Eastway?
So Eastway therapists don't come in our building.
Okay.
Right.
Those students
Go
go
there.
to school
Okay.
at a location.
At a location?
Yes.
Okay.
These are students who have struggled in the traditional classroom, regular student environment.
So they
And
go.
They go to Webster Street Academy.
But there are also instances where a student may be in our buildings and goes receive services from Eastway after school, before school. And I've heard some districts allowing the therapists to come into the schools. But I think it's our due diligence. Let's just make sure that they're actually receiving the services that
So that
we're
would-
paying for. Yeah.
But that instance that you're talking about wouldn't be something that we have paid or contracted
Right.
with.
Right.
Right now, currently, we only contract with Eastway for the students
Good.
who go to the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Okay. How do we identify the students that need to go there? And I'm only thinking in my head, so for some of our students that have the behavior and they're about to be expelled, would we send them to Eastway? I'm just trying to get a feel for,
So there's a referral process, and the principal works with their team there, their support team there, whether it's the social worker, counselors, assistant principals, if they have them, they work with that team to identify which kids have had so many discipline referrals and what other needs. So there's a referral that Eastway uses that we have to use if we want to send it.
and it's all
Send
grade
referrals
levels?
and all of their discipline, if they're a student with a disability, we send those records, and then they do an intake evaluation assessment with the parent and the student. And then they make the decision on the placement. But the parent also has to be in full agreement. I
Yeah.
can't just send the student there, the parent has to be in agreement as well.
Okay.
And on Ms. Mallory's point, some parents feel that their children don't need an alternate school system. Some parents believe that their children are not qualified, they don't have behaviors that exhibits them to go to those schools. So you got to have a good speaker to convince a parent that this is the best fit for your student. There is an opportunity for your child to receive those services, and eventually, as they do their assessments, they come back and say, hey, I don't think this is a great fit. I think that he or she is more than welcome to attend regular classes. We just go by their safety plan and behavior plan on how to move forward.
Okay. Thank you for that information. And now we're at B.
We're at B, This is another renewal. This is of Stepping Stones group contract for speech language pathologists for next school year. And speech pathologists, we pay $83.07 per hour. And again, we've used them on numerous occasions before, so. If there are no questions on that, the next one is also Stepping Stones. This is for nursing services. The nursing services for our LPNs are $59 per hour. For registered nurse is $70 per hour. Again, we have to do it this way because it is so hard to find, you know, these services. So we would like to continue that. Again, these are for information.
Do we,
What did you,
go ahead.
what did you say the LPN was?
The LPN, the licensed practical nurse, is $59 per hour, and the registered nurse is $70.
Do we also still use Maxim?
Yeah, yes.
And it's because we can't get all from one that we contract
Right,
to?
that we have to have more.
So I try to find the best rate.
They're getting paid top dollar here.
Okay, and then D, this is an acceptance of a donation check from Box Tops for Education for the ELC. The kids brought in enough box tops to get $49.80. And then E is approval of the personnel agenda. So walk through that. A1 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified resignations for the 22-23 school year. A2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified one-year limited contracts for the 23-24 school year. A3, as amended, is the recommendation for the approval of the following certified supplementals for the 22-23 school year. A4 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified summer school staff for the 22-23 school year. A5 is a recommendation for the approval of the following letters training for the 22-23 school year. And we have removed A6. A7 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified summer staff to be used on an as-needed basis. Now we're on our B, the Trotwood-Madison Board of Education classified personnel agenda. B1 is a recommendation for the approval of the classified resignations for the 22-23 school year. B2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified letters training for the 22-23 school year.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
And we would like a vote on that.
And I'll take a motion.
I'll move to accept superintendent item E with the changes presented prior to the meeting, to the item, which is the hand carry
The hand carry
and with the exception of
A6.
A6.
I second that with the exceptions as stated.
It's been properly moved in second. Ms. Al, or any other discussion?
He has a question.
I do have a question, Madam Chair, in regards to the positions as needed. Can you just clarify what they will be doing as needed?
Yeah, as needed for the summer school, it's like feeding, it's like cafeteria workers, it would be bus drivers, it would be as needed, it's our classified staff, so, you know, we may find out that we need more, people to provide the meals and things, that'll be dependent on the numbers of students, so that's why sort of on an as-needed basis. Also, if there's a need for a substitute, then that person would already be approved to be able to come in and help.
So
At
it
that,
says-
at that rate, and they can do all of those functions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is
No,
the
I'm sorry.
certified, not the class.
I thought you'd asked about the classified, you asked about the certified. Same idea, on an as-needed basis would be people who would be available to sub,
Okay.
to show up at the summer if needed.
Any other questions? Comments? If not, Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
and Mrs. Judah Freeman.
Yes. Motion passed. And my computer got frozen. And our next item,
Is our tablet distribution. If you'll remember, Mr. Howard started this conversation when we had our retreat, and he would like to, again, bring this forward for some discussion, because I'll have to make the decision on whether or not we're gonna go this route sooner rather than later. So he's gonna share with you more information. This is the $11 computers. We talked to tablets that we had spoke about.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I do have a lot of information, and I hope to do it as quickly as possible, to share this information as quickly as possible. But Dr. Cosby did feel like this was a point of discussion that we needed to bring to the Board of Education to maybe take any questions, address any points of concern if they come up. There is a gray folder that I set at each one of your desks that has a summary of information that I'll be speaking from, as well as there is a PowerPoint presentation that I'll move through very quickly just to kind of discuss some very general points. As most of you know, because you were either board members or parents, and Mr. Anderson, I'm sure you're relative to the situation. March 2020, when the pandemic hit, the school district moved to a full one-to-one distribution of devices to all students in the district. Upon us returning to school, the elementary buildings, the ELC in Madison Park, they brought all their devices back, and they are now currently a cart-based situation, a cart-based situation. When I say situation, that means that every student still has a device, but those devices stay at the school building. Last year, 2 years ago, Westbrook did the same thing and brought their computers back, and all of their computers are housed in the building, and they do not take their computers home with them. Currently, 6 through 12, they are the only one-to-one buildings that we have where students are assigned devices and they take them home with them. So you're talking about roughly about maybe 14 to 1,500 devices that trek back and forth in our building every day, let alone the devices that are assigned to kids in the buildings. Now, one of the issues that we knew was going to come about, because as we researched one-to-one, was the damage, the loss, the recovery attempt. And over the last couple of years, we have really started to see those fees escalate. We are currently, and you'll see me kind of look over to Mr. Brenner a little bit, because he's going to affirm some of the things that I say. We are currently, over the last 3 years, averaging roughly between $85,000 to $100,000 a year in damage fees, damage and loss fees. And this continues to accumulate. So one of the things, again, that we did was we brought the younger kids back into the building, and we started to see some of those fees go down, but we're continuing to see the fees, the loss recovery of the high school and middle school continuing to escalate. And one of the things that is happening across the country is that folks are trying to find different types of ways to continue to support the learning and the education of students, all while cutting the cost of the whole one-to-one concept. In the summary, what I kind of provided to you is just a general overview of some of the issues that we are having, some of the things that we have tried to do to curb some of the loss. And one point to make is that as we are trying to curb some of the loss, as we are trying to address some of the fees, some of the recovery fees, it's been very hard to per se hold some of these things over these kids' head. The buildings have kind of instituted some different plans where, you know, there's loss of privileges, things like that. But ultimately, there's only so much you can do when a kid just doesn't bring back a $150 computer. And then we find ourselves in the crux because we want the kid to continue learning, but at the same time, do we not give them a device and let them struggle because they have not brought back that computer? So, another point is that the seniors, we find, are usually the ones that are hard pressed the most to get those fees paid, because we say, if you don't bring this computer back, you're not gonna get your diploma. But there's some different things to say to a younger kid, like you won't have recess or something like that. It just doesn't hit home. A couple of things that we've done to address the problems is, as I stated, we brought the computers back, brought the carts back through K-5. We're looking to upgrade our computers for K-5 because we're bringing them back. There are so many of them that are older, that are damaged, starting to have some issues with them. So we are looking to upgrade our K-5 quantity of computers. We make all families sign a parent agreement that clearly defines the fees, responsibilities, and how to properly maintain the device. That parent agreement is in your folder. Before any device is distributed to any student, all parents must sign off on this agreement that details the care, the maintenance, and what the fees are. Develop loss of privilege plans, sent reminders home, and we've even gone as far to retrieve devices from various places. This week we got a device from Vandalia Butler City Schools. They'll call Eric and say, hey, we got one of your devices over here. How it gets over there, we don't know. A lot of times kids leave the district, they just take it with them and they turn it in wherever they go. And we've been to, where else have we been, Eric? We've been to several different places. Dayton Public. Right, so our devices end up, and sometimes their devices end up here. So it's just not a problem to, specific to us. It's a problem that's happening, I want to say kind of globally. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to find a solution. I presented to you a problem that we're having, $85,000 to $100,000 plus a year. So before we just give up and say we bring all the computers back, we know especially our high school kids are going to need access, are going to need devices. There are a lot of different things that they use those for. So working specifically with Mr. McCray and the virtual program we have done, because of course he's having a lot of the issues with those kids as well. We've done some research, and we were fortunate enough to find information on the United States government Affordable Connectivity Program. It is a $15 billion program that provides free internet and free tablets to students that qualify for free and reduced lunch at a cost of $11 per device. So the way this works is we work with this company, we set up a link, we send the link out to all the parents. On the link is a application for this product. They simply fill out the link, they send us the device, and we give them the device. Can you scroll to the last slide? I think 17. I think in your document it's like the first or second picture. It's the actual picture of the device.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There it is. There. Go back a little bit. So, what they provide is they provide a 10.1 inch tablet with all of the I want to use the right term here. The things that make the device accessible to our network. Right. Well, to the network, all of the ability to connect to our network, all of the, yeah, there you go.
So this tablet can run everything, so they can get on Google Drive, Google Classroom, it can function like a Chromebook, but
It's a 10-inch tablet. It also comes with a screen protector, a silicone tablet, and all of the accessories. Now, the difference will be that once, if we decide to go this route, and again, this is up for discussion, is that this tablet, this device is no longer property of the district. This tablet becomes the property of the student. So what that means is if it gets broken, if it gets damaged, if they lose something, the students, for $11, which, is a heck of a deal, will have to try to manage, trying to get that addressed, which is of slight concern in some area, but at the same level of concern with us, we are fixing so many devices, and it's starting to consume our work in technology. When our guys should be out helping do some different things, helping train, we spend most of the time fixing screens, fixing keyboards, fixing a litany of things, because to be honest with you, Chromebooks, iPads, any type of mobile device is just not built to take in and out of a bag, to slide across a lunch table, to do the types of things that kids do with these devices. So with this federal program, all we would be responsible for is sending the information out to the families. The families will be responsible for filling out the application. It's a very short application. Can you pull up the application? I think it's scroll right there. The families will fill out the application. Once they fill out the application, they send the tablet to us, and then we distribute the tablet to the student. And then the student has a free tablet and free internet access. So whatever device they have outside of this tablet that they want to access the internet, they can use this tablet. It is a hotspot as well. It serves as a hotspot as well. So we've been on a couple calls with a couple different school districts, most specifically DeKalb County High School in Atlanta, Georgia. We've met with them. We met with the folks from SW Connect. Those are some other schools, and all of these are Atlanta. It's really booming in Atlanta right now. And one of the biggest thing that the principal from DeKalb County was saying is that it eliminates the detective work that takes away from the kids, school, and the administrator's capability of trying to do some of the things that they have to do. He had a list, much bigger high school, 1,800 kids. He had a list of about that big of kids that had not turned in their Chromebooks left yet. And then I had a list about that big of kids that had not turned in their Chromebooks yet. And we just kind of talked about that. Other than that, I just think it's something that in order for us to consider a way to try to start saving some of the public's money, we've got to figure something out, because we all know that loss prevention, not just in schools but across the world, is a huge budgetary expense, of whether it's retail, whether it's public sector, regardless. And we are really starting to see accumulation of fees that, if a kid leaves out of here, and especially with some of the kids that are as transient as we have, if a kid leaves out of here and they move to Florida, they take their device with them. It's hard for us. We even tracked a couple down, one in Korea. Was it Korea? Johannesburg, South Africa. One of our devices.
And I'd like to add in that I was on that call when we talked to the principal in Georgia, because I had a concern.
Mhm.
I think my biggest concern was the child would get that computer at home and they might drop it, lose it, break it. Then what happens when they are at school? They have the card, but I was concerned about what happens at home. So one of the things that we had talked about doing would be signing out one if a student did have homework and needed to have one at home for that night, and then bring it back in versus them having it at home continually. So that made me feel better about it, because we know that that's going to happen too, that there are going to be some kids. But we also think that putting that $11 into it, even though, you know, that's not a lot of money, it's still some skin in the game for the parent. So if I see my child drop a computer that I pay for, you know, I'm gonna have a conversation with them that's a little different than maybe if I didn't think it was ours.
Okay, so the parents are paying for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be, that would be what we would ask, yeah,
Yeah.
an $11 contribution. And then, of course, if there are some that
Right.
can't,
Right.
which, you know, I don't know, it may be a possibility.
Right.
Then we can work through that.
Madam Chair.
Any questions?
Yes. Are we able to, on top of, the students purchasing the tablets, can we have, cases available to purchase from the school? Instead of depending on parents to go Amazon or get some type of high price, if we order enough off of Amazon, we can probably get a discount, and we can do it, have the kids buy it, incorporate a fundraiser in that, I don't know.
You know, Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm done.
You know, Mr. Anderson, you're gonna find out real quick. You don't gotta worry about discounts with us.
Okay.
We'll find it cheaper than Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find it cheaper. We'll let you know. But it does come with the case.
Oh, okay, all right, I didn't see that.
Yep, it does come with the silicone tablet case.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes with a silicone tablet case. So if we need to find something else, I don't think that would be a huge investment on our part. But some of the cases that we've purchased with the tablets, not the tablets, but the Chromebooks, they do get a little pricey, but these do come with silicone tablet cases. Yep, and it comes, and again, they all come packaged in a box, and it has the student's name on it. It has all of their information. Then all we're responsible for is, and Eric's gonna show that, all we're responsible for is getting the device to the kid, right there. Come like that, getting the device to the kid once they come. So Ms. Harden's here, we'll get a box, we'll give them to Ms. Harden, and then they'll just call the kid down and give them the tablet. Or they can get them from here.
So I'm a person who like to over accommodate, and I know that's bad in a lot of ways, but are we able to establish some charging stations within the school if we get in the situation where a parent or a household may not have power? And I know things happen in life, but just charging stations available throughout the school, or opportunity for the kids to plug up the tablets, can we work on that, or does that make sense? Okay.
On it.
I like this team.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate this presentation. If you're not done, I'm really pleased with it. As always with your work, I have nothing bad to ever really say about you, sir. Ever.
Well, I appreciate that. But one thing I do want to say is that, and you may not know this, I know Ms. Freeman and Ms. Moore know, that our district qualifies for 100% free and reduced lunch. And we qualify based on the National School Lunch Program. So what that means is, because 63% of our kids qualify, all of our kids qualify. So every student in the district will qualify for a free tablet, because everybody in this district needs it. Yes, ma'am.
So if we adopt this, how soon can we get?
Speaking with SWA Connect, I believe that's the company, SWA or SWC, they said that if we sign on, SWA, if we sign on, they would put together, can you go to the banners for me, Eric, real quick? They would develop a banner like this for us within the next week. And from that banner, we'll send it out through Parent Square with the link attached. Once they click the link, from the time they click the link, download their information, input their information, they said they can usually turn them around in about 2 weeks. So that gives us plenty of time, but,
Over the summer.
the fact that we wanted to bring it to you guys to discuss a little bit to see if, you know, what your thoughts were, you know, at this point, again,
Yeah.
gives us plenty of time. And again, there are some concerns because we do feel like we give our kids and our families everything they need to be successful. But at some point, we have to start being accountable to the dollar per se, with regard to what's happening. And if we put all these parameters in place, and we still can't get this stuff back, and we're still accumulating $100,000 a year, I think that's reckless on our part. So we have to find some type of solution to still support the most important entity in the school district, which is the children and the families, but at the same time, try to figure out how we can start saving some money.
Very good presentation.
We're losing
My,
it.
Go ahead, Ms.
So my question is, implementation, so they can build a banner right away?
Yes.
We can send it out on Parent Square,
Yes.
and what other mediums would we use other than Parent Square?
I think Parent Square for us internally would probably be the most relative because it is, it's directly connected to the parents' phones, their, Parent Square is phone, you can, cell phones, text messages. So there are 3 or 4 mediums that we can use with Parent Square. But we'd also use our Final Forms platform. We would also use, probably our Facebook page, our social media accounts. Because what we want to do is, we want to make sure that probably around, and talking to Dr. Cosby and maybe Mr. Warner specifically, we want to make sure that we have enough time to get the information out and blast it out so people know, so when the kids come back to school, they already have the tablets.
So with that implementation, we're gonna get it out there. However, we'll have backup for the families that don't have it. They still have their Chromebooks, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Chromebooks, so what'll happen is, we're gonna move all the Chromebooks like we do K-5, and then we're gonna start replacing some of the K-5, because some of the K-5 Chromebooks, the damage is just, I mean, they're just at the end of life. So we're gonna move all of the Chromebooks back into carts, and then 6 through 12 will have, you would be astonished about how much damage we get middle school and high school. And you would think the bigger kids would take a little better care of them. They don't. I was at the high school the other day, and this is gonna be on video, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. I saw a kid slide a Chromebook from one end of the lunch table to the other end of the lunch table, and it fell off the back of the table, and the kid was trying to catch it, and it fell on the ground, and it just cracked. And I went over and I got it. I said, "Give me this. What are you doing? What you talking about?" You know, but and it's just because it's just a part of what they do. I mean, it's and I don't think any of them damages them intentionally. I just think they're just in that mindset, in that life. It's just a part of what they do. Oh, I'm grabbing my bag, let me grab my Chromebook, and they drop them. So I really think our kids, for the most part, they do the best that they can to take care of them, because I watch my kids, the way they treat their Chromebooks. But I just think we have to understand that the damage is happening.
Yeah.
And year after year after year, it just gets starting to get.
I had to pay that $150 replacement fee, so me and my little brother had a big conversation about that.
There you go.
About that.
I appreciate that.
I was mad.
Wish we've had more parents like you to do that.
Yeah.
So we do have a plan, and also maybe, you know, how we have the summer programming or open school. Open house. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Maybe, you know, making sure, having the administrators make sure that each and every parent has an opportunity, if they didn't have to do so over the summer,
Yeah.
to fill that out. As a matter of fact, it can be part of when they pick up their schedule. If they don't have it, they fill it out. I mean, just taking the opportunities every chance that we get to get in front of parents.
That's a great point. And I think maybe, like I said, maybe having a conversation with Mr. Warner, we can set up maybe some type of distribution over there, you know, with the Freedom Schools. Maybe we can get that going,
Get that
you know,
started.
early where kids can get them, and then we kind of see how they work.
Even, the summer, the family reunion, if we have a booth, make sure those forms are out there. So, because we'll capture all those parents who are coming to the Trotwood family reunion. And football games, I mean, everything. We just have to really take advantage of a captive audience. Yes.
So one thing about these banners is, with these banners, the link, and I wanna make sure I'm saying this right, talking to Rachel. The link will be a direct upload, so,
There's no form.
right, the form will have to be mailed. So, yes, that would be an option, but the link is a direct upload, so once you click enter, it goes directly to the company, and like they said, they get it processed and turned around within a couple days, and they ship them out, and you usually get about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll set up some tablets wherever people are to capture them. I mean, however we need to do it to make sure. What would be great, I know 100% is
Yeah.
great,
That's a lot.
but, even if we could say 85% of our students have done this, that would save us quite a bit, even 75%, but because this is new.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are a little resistant because they know we're not gonna let their child be without, because this board wouldn't do that, and you wouldn't do that. So we just need to make sure that that they have accessibility. There's no excuse, I guess that's. But thank you, that was really good. It'll be interesting to see how we roll this out, Dr. Cosby. And, I'd like an update. And I don't know, but I think the board would like an update too, as we roll it out. The numbers of applicants and where we stand.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I
So
appreciate
in
it.
your package, you got any information? If you want to, actually, you can go to the website as well. It's down at the bottom. Now, SW Connect is one of the vendors. It was, so again, with this being a federal program, there are several different vendors. SW Connect is one of the vendors the vendor that was recommended to us because of their infusion in public schools. Some vendors, they utilize them for a lot of different entities, public housing, so on and so forth. But SWA came to us because of their infusion in
Are
public
they only
schools.
for students?
College students.
College students
Mhm.
and, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
not staff or anything like that, right? No board members or nothing like, just asking. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Part of the district, right?
Thank you. And now, Dr. Cosby, we have item B.
Item B is the 23-24 Student Code of Conduct. And there's really no major changes to it, just changes associated with dates and things of that nature, so.
So, board, one of the things that's also included in there is the discipline, the suspensions, the expulsions, and so we might want to take a look, if you haven't, take a look at those prior to, and if you have questions, contact the superintendent.
Yeah, we were looking at some policies, and I am on the policy committee, Mr. Davis, and we talked about some of those policies and how we might wanna tweak it and call Norm and see how we can make sure that it's compliant, good, inclusive. Yeah, cause we can tell you some of these policies are gonna change. They
Yeah,
have
and
to.
make sure we're having that conversation, and I'm sure you are, with the superintendent on the changes that we want to see, so that we're having that full conversation on impacts that we might not be aware of. But for sure, I was looking at those, and there are so many when it comes to, did we create that list, or is that just a list, that long list? It's like,
You're talking about the offenses,
infraction, right.
like the tiered offenses, like
Yeah.
level one.
It's like one for, you looked the wrong way, or you looked at the corner of your eye, so,
We'll look at all of that.
yeah.
And, we'll make some decisions on
Yeah,
how. And
because
we'll
I
talk
know
to-
we captured all of that data too, Mr. Warner has every little
Every
thing
infraction.
identified for every little offense, and it's like, I don't know, something to think about.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
So we just need to review this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then item 6 was added, is the discussion on mental health. I'm sorry, you had another
Yeah,
question?
Madam Chair, on the student code of conduct,
Uh-huh,
the part that changed, is it highlighted, or is it in red, or is it on a certain particular page?
I'm looking at Miss Mallory because she,
Not in the document that you currently
Okay.
have there, because it was more grammatical, or, sentence structure, just moving something from this place to this place. Nothing neat-wise, if that makes sense, or content was changed.
Okay, is it possible that we just get an outline on those changes?
Yeah, we have a list of like bullets. of
Yes,
things that we-
if we could get those bullets, because that way we wouldn't have to, we'd know what we're looking at and looking for, if that's the pleasure of the board.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay.
so the, third item was, you had asked, I think it was at the retreat, we had a really good presentation from the company Empower to Elevate. They had talked to us about supporting Tier 3 students who had mental health concerns. And so we had asked, could we get like a comparison in what we currently have before we took, we were looking at that, level of investment. So I will pass these out. Ms. Moore, would you take one and have them on here? Thank you. So we use Samaritan Behavioral Health. They are the ones who support our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students with mental health concerns. Remember, Tier 1 students are a general ed population, is the majority of our students. So when we do have our Tier, and we do have Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. Samaritan Behavioral Health gives us 7 full-time employees. They're mental health therapists. Their caseload can be between 35 and 40 students per therapist. Students with disabilities are priority if that's written into their IEP. And they charge us $300,000, and we use our student wellness money for this. And that comes out to $42,857 per therapist. The actual caseloads are listed below. I believe at one point, Ms. Mallory did sort of share this with us, and the question came up, for example, like if the middle school has 2 therapists, they have, it appears that they have the 40 and then 13 with 3 pending, but they would even that out, so that one therapist would not have 40 and another actually have 13, but just to give you an idea of how these numbers are going. Empower to Elevate, now this is the same type of mental health counseling. They do family counseling, they do small group, they can set up individual sessions with the students as well. So Empower to Elevate, they would support our Tier 3 students who have mental health concerns. They're offering 2 full-time employees. One of them is a coach and one of them is a therapist. We have 2 classes that would need this, that they would be able to support, I should say. We would have more, but they have 2 classes that they could support. And it would be on average 10 students each. And one of the classes last year had 8 and one had the 10. They were, in their contract, they were asking for $180,000, which comes out to $90,000 for each person, and they would be in those 2 classes all day long. The dilemma is, of course, that there's a teacher already in the class and an assistant in the class, and so a 3rd person in the class all day. I'm not really sure if we would get our bang for the buck in that situation. We have thought about it, or at least I've thought about it, and I do think that Empower to Elevate, has some service that I'm sure would benefit our students, but I think that I would like to talk to them about changing that contract and making it not as much as this, because, again, we already get the same services at a significantly lower price.
The only thought, the part I was hearing after we had some of the parents come to us, and really was in need of help. And our therapists through Good Samaritan are really good, and they have a huge caseload. I think the only difference is what they provide is they're ensuring the students are in the classroom and doing the work. I think, and I could be wrong, but I thought that that's what it was. It's like, they wouldn't be in the, and I don't know, cause I
No, I'm
didn't
just,
get that.
no, I was looking, cause I was thinking you were talking about Samaritan, what type of
No,
mental health? Or you're
right.
talking about,
Well, Samaritan, they pull the students out, right? And then they go back to the classroom, right?
yeah,
And the other one, that model would be those students that you're about to suspend, expel. It's almost, I vision it as in-school suspension, which we've had before, but it's also providing mental health.
right.
Is-
And
am I-
that's not what these classes are. These are
Okay.
designated classes that kids, the tier 3 students with diagnosed mental health
Right,
issues
so-
are in.
So Mr. Logan and I met and talked about what would be probably the best way
Mhm.
that his staff could help support our district if they were to
Okay.
be in our building. And so, some of the differences in what they offer that same type of tier 3 support.
Mhm.
But of course, they can only offer small caseloads, so they can have no more than 8 to 10 per person.
Okay.
And so we looked at having him support 2 classes that are in the buildings that have some of the most severe needs. if that
Okay.
makes sense. And what that would cause is, she wants to know. So what would happen is, those students who we're talking about, they currently receive support from Samaritan. So their families, of course, have to agree to discontinue Samaritan
Oh.
and go with Empower to Elevate, because again, you can't duplicate services
Mhm.
with mental health therapy. Okay?
Right,
Okay,
right,
okay.
right.
And so he offers an SEL coach and an SEL therapist. And what he says they would do is they would work with those students in class. If they needed to pull out, they would pull out. And then they
Okay.
would offer some supports to the teacher as well, like coaching. and things
Oh,
like
okay.
that. So I told Dr. Cosby I could go back to him and see what type of supports he could offer, if he wanted to offer something more general.
Okay.
Some of our tier 1 students or tier 2, but
Oh.
when we had a conversation, it was more about, the SEL therapist that he had that offers tier 3 support.
Okay.
And that's
And
why they
what-
cost so much. They offer supports to
Right.
students that have higher needs.
I think, if we're talking about some of the students that we've met recently, they're not tier 3, they're probably tier 2
Okay.
students, so they're, they have some needs, but it's not at the same level. And that's what I was wondering, if maybe they could offer, like some sessions for them, because of course they have to be in their classes most of the time,
Right.
getting their core, but some pull-out, things like that, that would not be replicating what we already have with Samaritan. And I do think that there is a need
Okay.
for the kids that we're talking about. I don't think this particular program is what it is. It may be that's why I think I would like to talk with Tracy, and we will get back with them about what could you offer us
I
for
didn't
this.
feel that he could offer like a person who could just come and kind of
Oh,
meet some kids.
okay.
and do
Yeah.
that. He's
Okay.
looking for,
The
to
whole.
provide a full-time person somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe with that discussion, talk about those like ancillary things that he might be able to do, that's not a duplication of services at a reduced cost.
Right.
Yeah, cause it's
Yeah.
it's a lot.
But I do think, like I said, we can have that, me and you'll have the conversation, and then we can talk to him about what he could, see if he could, support us, even if it was all day, but not the same price, and hitting a lot more kids. Cause we do have a lot of kids with needs.
Right.
And I think it has to do with his programming and how it's set up too. So
Right.
He doesn't, so if we decided to contract with him, then he would look to hire someone. So he doesn't already have these staff members just
Okay.
on one hand that he'll assign to a building or something.
Okay.
He would hire someone to work for his company, and they would provide services in our district.
Okay. Okay. those were all of our discussion items. If there are no other comments from the board on that one. Okay, so now we'll move to treasurer's comments.
Yes, I have in front of you my treasurer's update for June 1st. I provided a hard copy as well as I attached it to the executive tab on board docs. Just wanted to call your attention to one item, the EPC health insurance information. We did get that on Monday, May 22nd. EPC is our health provider. They have about over 60 different districts that participate. And our medical for this year is 6.5%. It ranged from 2 to 8%. So we weren't on the bottom tier, we were right in the middle. So we were pretty excited about that. And then the dental and vision will be 1.5% increase. And then I talked about the payroll pathways program. And then one other item I just wanted to put it in writing is I'm asking for a meeting on Thursday, June 29th, for financial to discuss the year-end FY23 financials. Usually it doesn't take more than 30 minutes to go over it. We talk about transfers and advances and appropriations. So I just wanted to call your attention, and then right before that meeting, the board president, the superintendent, and myself have a records retention meeting that is mandated by the Ohio Revised Code. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Superintendent's comments.
The first thing I would like to share with you, because I want you to understand that we are excited about celebrating people who donate to us, and we have gotten donations from $49 like we did today, all the way up to $2,000 or more. And I wanted to show you the things that we have purchased to use, and that's because I want you to know that they're all nice. But after we run out of ESSER money, it's gonna be a little harder to get our plaques for everybody, but this is what a plaque will look like. I don't have it attached in yet, but it's very nice. Nice thing. And then we would designate stopping, a point, but this is the frame that we found. It's not like a dollar store, the gold frame sometimes that, I thought this was very nice. I thought it
It
was,
is very nice.
not much different from that, not quite as heavy, and actually it'll stand up if somebody didn't want to put it on. So, I would like to just do like a two-tier, thing, and use both of these. I think they're very nice.
Those are very nice.
When you say two-tier, what do you mean?
So like, anyone who's given up to, $500, we would do this one, and anything above would do the plaque, that type of thing. And another reason we thought about that, to be realistic, was if you are a person who's gonna donate to us every year, and some people might want a plaque every year or something like that, or we could get the kind where you just put the year on it. But when you think about wall space and where you put things and all, I think that that could be a lot, and that's what we hope, is that they will continue to support us. And we also talked about the fact that the true thing that people want, and if you go into some restaurants, you see it, like if you take the kids to Dairy Queen, it's lots of signed, thank you cards from the kids. And that's what we're gonna really try to encourage, is that our students who benefit from this, thank the person as well. So they wouldn't just be getting something from us as a board, which is wonderful. They would also be getting something from, our kids too.
What's the cost of a one-tier and a two-tier?
I'll have to get the exact cost from, my new administrative assistant.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
and then,
right.
and I will let you know.
Because what I was thinking, we do have people who give every year. And I think this is the jump off of us really acknowledging the gifts and that are coming in and contributions. But we could actually acknowledge them every year with a letter, with a little pin or something along those lines. It's kind of sort of like, you know, at the opening day, it says 10 years, you know what I
Right,
mean?
got my
exactly.
10
Or
years.
I know, I have like a
Right.
20-year pin,
Right.
okay? Like, but you know,
Yes.
it actually says that, and it might go every 5 years or every 2
Yeah,
years or
that's
something like that, just as a recognition. But I wanna be very careful on how we acknowledge every individual, because, you know, for some folks, especially if they're just an individual, $500 is a lot of money.
Right.
But if I'm talking to a big company, you know, that's given $2,000, or a bank or something like that, it's not quite apples to apples, you know what I mean? Because if this is all I have, that's like 2,000 or 20,000 if it's a lot of money.
True.
So I would prefer to be really consistent in what we do, just as an acknowledgement, not so much, you know, a tier, but just a thank you, because that's what this is. You know, not making somebody bigger or smaller, but we just thank you. I mean, we just really thank you for what you've done to support our students.
But you're not saying not to give the plaque.
Oh,
You're
no, we
not-
could get either one,
Yeah.
either or, you know, whatever
Yeah.
the district can afford, or whatever
Yeah.
the superintendent deems.
Well,
They're
let's think
nice.
about
They're-
that now.
they're
We said
both-
whatever we can afford, they're giving us money.
Yeah, but guess what? Then let's do
Yeah.
the plaque. If it's the consensus of the
Yeah.
board, let's do the plaque. They're very nice. That's why I asked for the cost.
Yeah.
Because I'm
We'll
just
see what
talking
that
now.
cost
Okay, I'm
is.
just talking.
I'll get the
But,
cost.
yeah, but if we got the cost, and I know initially we said a plaque, right? We should give the plaque.
And see, that's a big plaque, and I wasn't even thinking it would be
I was
that
just
big.
thinking
Yeah.
but that is beautiful.
It
That
is beautiful.
really beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice plaque.
I was like you
Yeah.
know, like the little Chromebook, or
Yeah.
like the little tablet, but that's very, very
Yeah.
nice.
I was thinking of the store, in Trotwood that was donating to us. They have space for a plaque, so if we put a year on theirs, it'll probably hint, okay, I want one next year with another year on it. So, just something to,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
discussion.
And, you know, even with those frames, maybe we order numbers and just stick the
Yeah.
little numbers on there, you know, or something like that, 23, 24, 25, you
Then
know,
cheap, yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep working at it.
Okay.
But we are planning to do something this summer,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Thank
good.
you.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying, just let me make sure I understand this. No donation is too small, so everyone will be receiving a plaque.
I think, you know, along the lines of letting the superintendent determine what that looks like, you know what I mean? We've got some pretty big contributions. And then we have individual homes, like your family gave, correct? Yeah, and that was very admirable. And, you know, we want to acknowledge that, but maybe you come up with something that you think is appropriate, whether it's a person who gave, you know, $50 or $500 and up, you know what I'm saying? But you make that decision and bring it
Okay.
back to the
I'll bring it
board.
back to you.
Yeah, you decide.
Okay.
Okay?
So the other thing I wanted to share with you all, I'm in constant communication with my staff and oftentimes through letters, and I did send them a summer break letter. And I don't want to read it all to you, but I wanted you to know that what I shared with them was how proud I was of their relationship building this year with their students, and some of the things that we did get accomplished. And so, and I wanted to say that because oftentimes we get a little mired in the things that go wrong, and we forget to say the things that are good. So I would just like to read to you what I said to them, at least this part about the achievements that we made. For all of us, there have been great achievements this year. Most importantly, we graduated 150 students. We also purchased and learned new curriculums. We have participated in great PD to ensure we can implement the new curriculum. Our STEM work is growing, and I put in parentheses literally, because I'm thinking about those those plants. We have acknowledged and supported the importance of self-care for staff and SEL for our students. Even in these tough times of hiring, we got the majority of our positions filled. Ram Nation Virtual Academy had a great year. I have staff members who have earned more degrees, who have we have successful extracurriculars for our students. For example, our band, JROTC, FFA, and choir. Our coaches continue to do great things with our athletes. and other students both on and off the field. Our support staff has been there for our students, transporting them, feeding them, and taking care of them all year long. I also mentioned that I can't list everything, but I want them to know I'm proud of all the great things that have happened this year. I do go on to say to them that I want them to hold their students to very high expectations, and just as I want you to hold students to high expectations, I also intend that myself and my administrators will all be held to high expectations as well. I talk about the fact that we have a lot going on, and we're excited about what's gonna happen next year. We're including our parents. We're doing what they want, which is to hold their students to high expectations. That's what our survey showed, and I let them know that. So, I just wanted you to know that I do those types of communications with them because, you know, we do feel that way about them. I know you do as well, and sometimes we don't get a chance to say it, you know, publicly. So I would like to say that on behalf of myself and the board, that we are very proud of our staff and all the accomplishments that we made.
Thank you. Oh, was that,
That's it.
okay.
That's it.
All right, so Mr. Craig Anderson.
Madam Chair, I actually do not have any comments for this evening. So that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Davis?
I do. I always
Okay.
have a comment. First off, greetings to everybody. Kinda missed everybody, but here we are again. First thing I would love to do is, I believe that, as a board, we marginalized, someone's financial information, I believe somewhat by accident. So, Mr. Warner, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the board for any uncomfortable moments when we were going over personal information that may have been exuded or spewed out by accident. That was not the board, that was not the intention of the board. So as an individual of this board, I'm apologizing, looking you dead in your eye and saying sorry. It's not hard for me to do that. It didn't cost me nothing, sir. So I'm sorry about that. Getting back to my comments, there was a civil rights guy, to be short, and I feel like I'm the honey badger of the board a lot, so I can relate to this guy. But he was a civil rights activist, and he was around all these people that called themselves his brothers and sisters, but some kind of way he ended up in the Audubon hall room when people were saying, "Get your hands out of my pocket," and he ended up critically a victim of crime. But that gentleman said something that was so important to education for me, and I would just like to share that with all that will listen. And it's something that I just feel like when someone passes away and their whole existence is to better us, you don't let their legacy die just because they're not here. Education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. His name isn't important, but to me, his message is, and I just want everybody to know that don't kill the messenger sometimes. I know that sometimes I come off in an unpredictable energy and an aggressive energy sometimes, and that's allowed me to sustain my life a long time, coming from where I come from. But be it as it may, please do not take things that we do individually and make it or put it or paint us all that way. Keep in mind that on pants, there's all types of pockets, but they're on the same pants, okay? And there's 5 pockets on these pants, okay? So you see us all up here looking very nice and, you know, decent at times. Hopefully, you know, that's cool. Thanks, Mr. Marlin, for the great presentation today. Thank you, Mr. Warner, for doubling down and coming with our literacy. And I would love to tell parents, don't be a procrastinator like me. Please think about our enrichment programs. Don't wait till the first comes up, like the Bone Thugs and Harmony, first of the month. Now I'm thinking about enrichment in summer school, okay? Just because your child does not need to go to summer school doesn't mean you can't come visit us and get in our enrichment programs. We even get freebies out, like really nice ones, computers, drones. The 50 seconds of my elevator commercial for Trotwood is closing. But thank you guys. I love you all. We might disagree on everything, but that doesn't mean we have to undermine each other. That doesn't mean we have to publicly disrespect each other. I'm cleaning my image up on that because sometimes I'm an emotional leader. That's my problem. I'm gonna get a psychiatrist, pay them. How much are we paying them? About 59 or 100 something hours. So I'm gonna do all that. I'll digress. Thank you guys for allowing me to be myself as usual. Sometimes I feel like I can't do that here. So thank you. I digress.
Ms. Moore? Thank you. Mr. Davis?
I'll be brief. I know at one time the board had Ms. Latham and the student on the agenda, but that couldn't happen. Could we reconsider having them back, to recognize them for their accomplishment? And I'm asking the board because that's something that we would do.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. In addition to that, the superintendent mentioned that there's lots of staff degrees and we're very proud, and you're very proud of those. I think, and this is just a thought, why don't we acknowledge that? I mean, it's not easy to get these degrees. It's not, and people work really, really hard. I noticed some of the advanced degrees at the graduation, and I was like, shocked. But we didn't know. I mean, it was just like, we would have acknowledged them had we known.
Right.
So if there's a way to acknowledge those folks for their advanced degrees, and it could be at the board meeting, or it can even be opening day.
That's what I
I'm
was
just,
thinking, maybe
opening day in front of all their peers. I just think that's huge. And I would like to know how many, because you said we've had quite a few. And they're working while they're.
While they're still going to school.
Yes, that's a lot. So thank you for sharing that. Also, you mentioned the survey that was given in the district. I would like to see what that survey looked like and what those survey results were. Board, are you interested in that as well?
I did
If
have
so-
that on my list.
Oh, you have, okay. I would definitely like that to be shared with the board. Survey questions and the results. Other than that, I know we're making a lot of changes. I've got some questions about those, and I'll speak with you about those, just to see how things are coming along. I mean, this is the end of one year, we're starting a new year. But again, I'm excited about what's yet to come. I love the idea of saving $100,000 on computers or Chromebooks, Mr. Howard. So thank you for finding that. I think that's huge. And we've got to continue to look for that kind of stuff because it's out there. It just goes to show that it is out there and for the taking, and we just have to see what we qualify for. Other than that, I just want to say thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. And now, Ms. Cherry.
I just also would like to say, job well done, Mr. Warner and, Mr. Howard, on your presentations. I would hope that we would adopt the tablet, connection and get the ball rolling with that. To me, it's a no-brainer. So I would hope that we would move, expeditiously with that. I saw on, the Trotwood page, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Smith, but one of our own, Timothy Carpenter, is that him, has already committed to Indiana, on a football scholarship, am I correct? So, verbally.
Verbally committed.
Yes, so, just congratulations to him and his family, because it's about the students. So I'm gonna congratulate them. Dr. Cosby, I'm sorry, we did share about Mr. Burrows. Do you want me to share that?
Yes, you can share that.
Okay, so Mr. Burrows, Leroy Burrows, he has reached out to me, and I asked him to reach out to the superintendent for a partnership with Dayton Upward Bound. So hopefully he will be coming to our next board meeting.
Yes.
To present. So that's a good thing. Other than that, with the summer school, I would hope that the parents get their students, into the summer school, for credit recovery and to also strengthen skills. So I'm looking forward to see how our summer school program rolls out. And I have nothing else to say.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for coming out on this Thursday when some of you I know are already on summer break, so I appreciate that. The only other partnership we received an email from was Ms. Pamela Simmons with Delta for financial literacy workshop on September, I don't know the exact date, but Dr. Cosby has already put it on the high school calendar for that. And it aligns with our new, the state curriculum for financial literacy. And thank you, both Mr. Warner and Mr. Howard. It's already been acknowledged, but I'd like to give you my thanks as well for answering the questions, because you always have them. And I appreciate you taking the time to answer. And I think with that, that's all. Oh, Ms. Allen.
I was thinking that one of the board members would say this, but I want to just say we have a student that will be running in the state track meet tomorrow, Mariah Day, who qualified as you can tell me. You don't mind?
She qualified from 100 meters.
100
Wow.
So, she has a good shot making it to the final on Saturday, so we're excited to go and support Mariah.
Oh, let's blast our Facebook with it, so that she can get all the support.
So I plan to go tomorrow. It starts
Okay.
at 4:30 tomorrow, Friday for the prelims, and Saturday's the finals.
Very good.
I don't know who else is going, but I'll be there with my Trotwood gear on.
All right, if nothing else, take a motion to enter into executive session for, I'm not gonna read the entire thing.
Yes.
Well, for A, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual per Board of Ed Policy 0166 and ORC 12122. Action may be taken. Item B is to consider the purchase of property for public purposes, the sale of property at competitive bidding, or the sale of other disposition of unneeded, obsolete, and unfit for use property in accordance with section 505.10 and the revised code. If premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal, private interest is adverse to the general public interest per ORC 12122, and that when no action will be taken. And the third one is to prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining session with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and condition of their employment per ORC 12122. I'll take a motion.
I'll move that we go into executive session for item A, B, and C as stated.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Moore and second by Ms. Cherry. Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
and Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes. The board will enter into executive session at 7:38. been properly moved in second. Ms. Cherry, would you call the roll? You moved, I second. Did you second?
I moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
No, she can't move.
No, I thought I moved and then you said, you did?
It
Okay.
don't matter.
Okay.
All those, it don't matter, whatever you
All
want.
in favor, aye.